Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcana episode 132. Today is a very, very special episode. We have both finalists of the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Richmond on today's episode. That is Fungus, the DLC champion, and, of course, my co-host, Sky, the runner-up. This is an amazing episode. It's a really, really long one, but we talk all about their run-up to the tournament, the Friday event, Saturday, the Sunday part of Swiss, as well as Top Cut and their amazing electric final. But before we get into that, I would like to give a huge shout out to Kawa for entrusting Sky and myself with Podcana. We hope that we can carry the torch and continue it as one of the premier places to get high-level competitive Disney Lorcana content, deck breakdowns, interviews, discussions, all of that for a long time to come. Also, huge shout out to Brennan, Moyen, Zach, and Tiago. Those were amazing episodes that they were on, and we hope to be just as good as they were in their time on Podcana. So stay strapped in. This is a great episode with myself, Fungus, and Sky, and it's coming up right now. I'm really interested in both of your journeys throughout the season on Emerald Sapphire, bringing it to this DLC. What led up to that? I'm going to start with Sky. How was your preparation coming into Richmond? Were you always thinking, this is the deck that I want to bring? We know that in the LCCC you were playing Sapphire Steel, but did you always have Emerald Sapphire in your back pocket, and what really convinced you to bring it to the tournament?
Yeah, so last format, I played a very different playstyle deck. I played Amber Steel Aggro. I took that to Milwaukee. Unfortunately, hit my worst matchup dogs 4 times in a row and kind of had a rough day there. But going into this format, that deck is not so great. It just turns out that the tools that other decks have and just how it stacks up against the playstyle of Amber Steel Aggro is just not great at all. So I kind of knew I just was going to have to ditch that deck entirely and go somewhere else. Blue-green had been a deck that I'd had a little bit of experience before. I'd seen some of his power. Set 7 after Blue Steel had a ban, and I kind of couldn't play those colors anymore. I decided to give like a kind of a fun deck, but also like a very powerful deck a try in blue-green. And it had like Muses back then and like How Far I'll Go, and it was actually like really strong. I like played Kita, so you'd always have like the turn 5 hard cast Clara, like sing a song, maybe double bounce with the Muse, and it felt like really strong. So like I had seen some of the power of the deck before, and then with some of the new cards it added, I was like, okay, this is a real deck now. And I think the first event that I took blue green to was CCS, which Fungus was also at. I had a super solid main event. The only thing I lost to was the mirror, and I was not running Bend at the time because it's still only like an 8%, 9% play rate deck, and they were running Bend, so lost that. And then I lost my winning in to Top Cuts against Jonathan Lim on Purple Steel because I completely punted an interaction and forgot that a Cobra does not vanish off of Mother Knows Best. And I bounced a Cobra. Next turn he drew, had 3 cards in hand, played Cobra, Activate, Dock, Perfect Ink, and he like won with right at the end because of it. So that event went really well. It still felt super strong. Like I knew I had a good shot to get in. I just messed up at the end. The second day event, it also felt super strong. I think the only loss I took were to like hyper aggro, like green purple burn, and then like maybe the like red purple that like went first and had like 1-drop Diablo 1-drop or something, and like that's just so fast and aggressive that it's really hard to beat. So yeah, the deck felt super good at CCS. I didn't have like any notable finishes there, but going into this event, I grinded the heck out of this deck. Not as much as Fungus, as I've come to learn, but I played like 500 best of ones, got rank 1 on the ladder. Felt super strong about the deck coming into this. I really think the only thing it lost to was just hyper aggro, and Dogs kind of, eats the other aggro decks. So, even if Dogs came in big numbers, like it's never been seen before, 12-15% play rate, the deck is still perfectly fine taking a loss to, 12-15% of the field. So I felt super confident. I'd say there's a few other times in my TCG career that I felt like I had a deck that had a chance to go the distance or get really far, and this was like one of those 3 or 4 times. So felt really good about the deck, and it got me to the finals. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Malicious, Mean, and Scary was revealed, I think everybody immediately had the idea in their head that, okay, this Prince Philip card is going to be a problem, especially if we can get it off consistently. And Fungus, I know that you're an Emerald Sapphire player and you have been for a while. When you saw that that card was revealed, were you like, okay, it's on?
Yeah, if I definitely knew that Malicious Mean and Scary was going to fundamentally change. Well, initially we didn't necessarily know how powerful it was. In a vacuum, it's a 12 cost between the two of them, or have to have a singer established, that kind of thing. But yeah, giving Emerald more good tools, and the format needed a board wipe, like just 100%. The prior format was just stick dudes and they just live forever, and who goes first was so much more of a factor because there was no punish for going wide. So I was just happy that there was some kind of comeback mechanism, whether it be the shift fill up line or just some way to wipe the board now, at least punishing people for going wide and just having all kinds of sticky threats. So but I thought blue green was viable prior. I have had some success with the deck. A very similar story to Sky. I know he was like a blue steel stand for the longest time, and then you lost your tools for blue steel. But I was a blue red player along the same lines. I played blue red forever, as long as I basically could. I was casting Be Prepared until they didn't let me. Or Sisus, right? So when the Hiram ban hit, set 7, I had spiked an event. I think I top 8'd that CCS, and we price split out something like that on with that. But for the rest of that format, once they banned Hiram, banned Popsicle, and kind of the tools that we needed to keep that deck going, I looked to another control deck. You'll never catch me playing Amber Steel. I just don't play my best when I am playing aggressive strategies. Like, I could probably figure it out, but I need something that allows me to play a longer game. I tend to play my best when I'm playing longer games. So I gravitated towards the next most controlling strategy at the time was blue-green. I had some successful finishes with it in set 7 at PPG and some other cash events and stuff like that, kind of with the version that Sky is talking about, muses and all that good stuff. So same thing with set 8 and set 9. I was, still pretty leaning pretty heavily towards blue green, and had top cuts in cash events with those versions of the deck as well. So I knew there was already power there. And to your point, when they printed more that kind of gave the deck a stopgap and kind of gave it this other angle of attack, I knew that we, at least were going to be a big contender in the new format. So, and obviously it bore out. I was similar to Sky. Apparently we were just on different ladders. He's over there on best of 1. I had open chat at all times, real names. I never, not to be braggadocious here, but like, I literally just had my name up there, and people knew what deck I was playing every single match. I never changed it. At one point, I used it as a coaching mechanism. Like, I put Fungus if you need coaching contact, that kind of thing. So yeah. I was like, but I was similarly to him, like I was hovering around top 5, top 2, on the leaderboard on best of 3, just spamming games when I had the opportunity to. And you could tell there was a lot of power there. The only thing and I've said this a couple of different times, the only thing that I was consistently losing to was not even just dogs, but specific people on dogs. Like, there was, and I've mentioned this on Twitter and a few different other places, but like Diego, obviously, like, awesome dogs player, probably the best dogs player in the world, or at least top 3. Habibi and Royce at the time. Royce was a big ladder grinder on kind of a little bit different dogs build, but all 3 of them kind of had my number. But for everybody else, I was crushing. Like, the deck felt so powerful, and it felt like I had, even if it, it wasn't 100% going to win all the time, like, I felt like I had game, and like I could make critical decisions to outplay opponents, which is kind of what I'm looking for in a deck. Like, especially when I take it into a bigger tournament, I need the capacity for skill expression. It's really important for me, and to play a longer game specifically for me. Like, I know there's a lot of skill expression with Amber Steel players. I won't front there, but it's just not a play style that I'm going to do my best in a tournament with. So the stars aligned here, where I had a lot of time on green blue in previous iterations, kind of knew a lot of those lines, and then were able to iterate and kind of get to this version. Similar to Sky, I played CCS. I also lost my win and was top 20 basically for the main event. The next day, I was crushing it like in the 5K. I actually had nothing but like superstar opponents. Like I had to play Tiago, then I played like R&B, then I played like all of Maelstrom, I think, at one point. And I knew, and this is going to sound strange, but I knew when R&B had like a psychological crisis after I beat him that we had something.
Yeah.
So like he really was not in a good place. I was like trying to comfort him.
Gauge of a deck, man. I mean,
he said blue steel is horrible, and he's going to quit the game. Those are the words he used. But like I don't want to do that. But like I knew there was something going on. If we're doing mental damage to this capacity. And like similarly, right? Like Tiago is one of the best players in the world. I think that was the quickest game of Lorcana I've ever played in my entire life.
Wow.
Was the game I played with Tiago.
I remember you coming up to me and saying that was the fastest game of Lorcana I've ever played. It was just I think you were on the draw or something too, and you're like, I just Prince Philip shift on turn 4, turn 5, and both games were over. Like,
yep,
that was it.
You just play John Silver. So like it obviously had the tools to beat top players on top decks, right? And then in the top 8, I lost to dogs. That was that was consistent with what I understood of the format.
Yeah.
So definitely had the power level to be there, and in a wider event, the statistics kind of bear out that we weren't going to play dogs that much, and there's a lot of natural predators. So I thought it was going to be a good choice. I was pretty confident that if the opportunity arose, this was a deck where I was going to be able to go deep.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I think the mental damage is on point, because whenever I sit across from a deck and I'm like, oh no, like when I see their first ink, I'm like, here we go, I have to play against this. It's a good deck, right? Like, even if I would ever sit across from Amethyst Steel, I would never think that. Like, oh no, I'm gonna get strength. Like, who cares? I can recover from that. But like a Prince Philip or like a Clarabelle on the draw, it's singing "You're Welcome" or something is just like, okay, well, I actually do lose, and it's over for me now. So, yeah, I think that's a really interesting point to make. Whatever deck is giving you the most headaches is probably the best deck in format. You should probably be playing that. If you sit down across from it and you're like, not this, not right now.
I think that also shows kind of like this bias that people have of based on a playstyle, how a game plays out, just the general vibes it gives. Because Purple Steel, I mean, Blue Green versus Purple Steel is a terrible matchup for Purple Steel. I think if you look at like me and Fungus, our win rate versus this deck and like what happens play or draw, it just is awful. But it feels not so bad for Purple Steel players because they get to 17, 18 lore and lose all the time with that. So it's like, oh, maybe if I played a little bit tighter throughout the game, I could have got there or something. Maybe, all these like type of copium answers. But yeah, like, when Purple Steel flips over, like I show a Clarabelle, just ink something and it shows my hand, like they're always so terrified. And like for me, I see those colors and it's just this huge comfort pick. And I don't think there's any other matchup. Maybe dogs seeing green blue is like so super comfortable for them, but like other than that, like there's no other matchup in this current format that I think I've seen quite like Purple Steel versus this build of the deck.
I thought Ruby Amethyst was just a gimme. Like I don't think I've lost a match to Ruby Amethyst ever. So
I think Ruby Amethyst is actually scarier, like by a decent margin in my testing, just because the players that figure out, okay, 1-drop and then Diablo, 1-drop Diablo on the play is like almost unlosable from their side. Like we need something like a turn 4, because if you do the math on that, like they're going to be at like 18, and like that's just, they have so many 2-questers that something is going to slip through, even if after the turn 5 combo. But most red purple players, at least blind, won't mull for that, and like even some won't even be on their radar, even if they do know what they're playing against. So the matchup is definitely good. But for me, I'd rather play against Purple Steel, and also you just have more improvised targets as well.
Yeah, shout out to Sky for giving me that information on the Friday event, because I was playing Ruby Amethyst and I played against Emerald Sapphire 3 times. I beat it twice. But yeah, that's what I did. I was just like 1-drop
Diablo is like, it's insane how if you like think of like what
tough.
Timothy J. Yeah, if you think about like what Timothy J. Mouse does for Purple Steel, and they can only play 1 or 2 of it, and they're hunting for it that hard in this matchup, it's like, okay, well, Red Purple does the same thing, except it's just a 4 for their 2 costs. So yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. So you guys were both absolutely on the grind. I know that you were doing in-person events, you were playing as much online as you could. I'm sure testing with other trusted play testers. But now we're getting into the weekend. You're both locked in, I'm assuming. Friday event. Did you both play in that? Did you bring this deck? I know there are some people that like to hide maybe what they're gonna do on the main event. Or try something else, or just play for fun on Friday. But there's great prizing in the Friday event. Why not bring your best deck and get some more last-minute reps into it? What did you both decide to do on that Friday event, and how did it go?
I'll start because I'll just say I did not play at the Friday event.
Okay.
And usually, the main reason was I just didn't get a ticket when it went live. But I will
You were
say
testing with Alphos all day. I remember now.
We tested a little. I actually didn't play too much on Friday at all. I actually played online in the hotel, and I played a few games to get to rank 1 because I always like that mental boost, I guess, of being rank 1. But I'm usually somebody who's like, no, play, get the reps, see what the field's like, get those paper reps. If you're somebody who plays more online and doesn't have that, if I need to play fast, I need to be, I can, because I have some recent reps in paper, but. This was an event where I did kind of feel like, well, if I show what I'm playing, people, one, are going to remember it, and two, it's kind of important in this matchup. This deck is super important for the mulligan because of how drastically different the play draw mulligan is for you, and also same thing to your opponent. Most of the time, most decks have avenues where they can, pitch an extra card, whether it be something like a guidebook in Blurple, or like keeping double sail as Blurple, or like purple steel keeping a triple 1-drop open. These things that do actually drastically impact like your Clara shift lines, or the amount of lore that they can get to before a turn 5 or turn 4 shift fill up. So this deck particularly, the mulligans matter a lot for both of you, and I think it was kind of beneficial to hide that, but at the same time I probably still would have played if I got a ticket. So
yeah, just like I said, I'm no fear, real names all the time. Everybody knows what I'm playing when they queue up, like online too. So here's my thing. It's like, I'm just here to get the most value out of the event I possibly can. It's not a guarantee that I'm gonna top 32 or make top cut or go deep in the tournament. Like, there's just so much variance. Like, you can play your best and still not get there. You could be the best player in the room, the best well equipped, and just like the wheels fall off. It's just a card game. So I went into Friday being like, oh, it's another chance for me to get some prizing, get some good value out of this trip. And I was launching a minor propaganda campaign. I was trying to get as many people from the loungers and everybody to play Ruby Amethyst as possible. One, because I'm great against Ruby Amethyst. I felt it was our best matchup. Purple Steel, in Ruby Amethyst is probably in a similar place, but also they farm dogs. Yeah. So if we can put the fear into some dogs players. So I don't know how much that actually worked out, but there were a bunch of Ruby Amethyst players at the top tables on Friday, and there were a lot less dogs. So, maybe we did do some mental damage there too. So I don't want to credit that, but I did put all over Twitter, and obviously people knew I was tongue in cheek, but I'm like, yeah, Ruby Amethyst is best deck. Just making sure people,
yeah,
I
saw those tweets. Yeah.
I told Tiago I will give him free coaching. He did not take me up on that, and you saw how that worked out. So, but I played Friday, went 6-1, so I came out with good value. Like, I was just like telling my team, or all the people I was testing with, is just, I'm already up. Like, so the main event is, we're winning no matter what. If I make day 2, I'm still happy. That's really, like, I just set minor goals. Like, I just try to get most of them, maximum value I can. And like I said, I had been on the ladder with my real name every single time. People already knew what I was playing against, and still having success with the deck. So, at that point, I just was no fear, I guess, or dumb. Some combination of those things.
Yeah, it's funny, the mental warfare you bring up, because I was sitting there after one round, and Diego came up to me, and I was like, "You're barking today?" He's like, "No." He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm playing Ruby Amethyst." He's like, "Yeah, I'm playing Emerald Sapphire," because I wanna beat all the Ruby Amethyst players so they don't play dogs tomorrow, which was really funny. But yeah, okay. So your Fridays are locked in. You both know that you're playing. You had different successes: Sky in the hotel room and Fungus on the floor. And
man, I DoorDash groceries. I was like, I'm gonna hydrate up, nutrition myself up, because I know I'm not gonna be able to eat that much tomorrow.
Yeah.
That was my game plan. So
yeah, pro move. I need to get on those little smoothie things that you were carrying. Or you were carrying around like you were sponsored, dude. Every picture I saw,
yeah.
like holding
Anybody that doesn't know, Katie bought a bunch of these Premier Proteins, which was, shout out to Tiago. It was his type of thing. It was like a meme at first, and I was like, I saw it at the store. I'm like, you know what, we'll try it. Like I like a good protein shake. I can get it in on a tournament day, and so I had one, and then she just started handing them out to everybody on my team. And then Team Katie by round 4 was all 4-0 except we had one tie, I think. So like we were just destroying every other team in there. We were going crazy. And then it kind of went downhill a little bit after that. She still got second, but I attribute it to not restocking on the Premier Proteins. Like round 4 is like when you need a refill and get that second one.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
Hey, something maybe to mention on Friday too, and this will maybe transition to another topic later, but Friday I played Under the Sea in my deck. So I played 2 copies of Under the Sea instead of the Improvise, which I had played at CCS. I played the Improvises at CCS. I had played Improvises even in like set champs and stuff that I played a couple, the prior weekend or whatever. So I kind of at that point was in my head, I had kind of reneged my situation because there were a ton of dogs on the ladder, and I'm like, well, I at least got to have some kind of like just a 1-outer if they play bad, give me some kind of chance. Yeah, they really that's the case. Like it's if they give me time to do it, it's like that. And in between, so it was bad for me Friday. The Under the Seas were bad. They lost me games that I should not have lost just because they were at 8 cost uninkable song in my hand. And that's kind of when I was like, I have text messages between Tyler and I, one of the people I coach and who had a deep run at CCS with the deck. He was like, are we playing Under the Sea? Or are we not playing Under the Sea? And I'm like, man, I don't know. Even though we were super confident on it a couple of weeks before, dogs had been creeping up. And because Diego and Habibi and like Royce were like killing on the ladder, like they were always like neck and neck with the blue-green players at the top. I was like, man, and even Diego told, like we were talking a couple of days before, he's like, yeah, I sold a lot of Metafight guides. So we're like, all right, man, these numbers might be kind of, bearing out that we need to have some kind of better plan than just don't like dodge. So, or just lose, right? So I did morning of basically say, we had a good plan in the first place. Ruby Amethyst players were showing their colors and doing their job. We're just going to pray and we're going to hope that the purple steels and the Ruby Amethyst and maybe some blurples with all these wasabis in their decks, because I knew everybody was playing wild item hate. I saw somebody with 4 Benja in their deck Friday, and I'm like, they are gunning, they are ready. So
I feel kind of responsible for that. Like I was pushing Benja propaganda, and I didn't even play him. I played Amethyst Steel. I didn't even put him in the deck.
Shout out to you, Garrick. Like I saw 3 wasabis in a deck, and people were like hard mulling for it in the blind. Like that's the kind of life people are living. So between like literally morning of like 15 minutes, I'm like, you know what, copy paste, no Under the Sea. It's that's the way we win. That's the way we're going to get deep in the tournament. So, and I'll just lose the dogs. It's fine. I'll beat everybody else. It's and the other thing that was a factor there, honestly, was that purple green like burn deck. Like that is a deck where Under the Sea actually does matter in that deck, because they don't disrupt your hand. So at some point you can just Under the Sea them and kind of get value and win that matchup. And you're not likely to see that deep in the tournament, so I thought. But you are likely to see it in your first 3 rounds or so. People are, just like, hey, I'm gonna have a good time this weekend. I didn't think too hard about this. Throw the burn deck, queue it up, and if you lose to that early, you're put in a bad position. And I did play into it. We can maybe talk about that later. But so that was another consideration. Was like we also thought there was a green steel deck, some kind of secret green steel deck that was floating around. But that didn't really bear out. And again, I was like, let's just win all our good matchups. Make sure we don't lose the matchups we're supposed to win, and by putting bricks in our deck. And so Friday did have a big impact on that. Whether people believe it or not. Like I think that Friday, the people that played and did well impacted some of people's fears or perceptions of the meta, especially the purple steel players and the dogs. The purple steel decks were beating up on dogs, and the ruby amethysts were beating up on dogs, and the dogs players were getting cold feet. I think to a certain degree.
Yeah. I mean, I got cold feet off my deck on Friday. I played Ruby Amethyst. I played against Emerald Sapphire 3 times and Blurple twice, and I was like, I can't do this to myself. I have to play something else. So that's what I did. But you both on Saturday were out there grinding, made day 2. How did your Saturdays go in general? We'll start with Sky. Did you absolutely breeze through it, or were there a bunch of tough matchups? I know I was talking to you throughout the day, and you had a smile on your face most of the day, just feeling really, really good with your deck choice and with your play. How did Saturday go overall? Did you have any interesting matchups or interesting matches that you can recall?
Yeah, I had a fantastic day Saturday. I think it was pretty reflective of what was played in the room. I played all purple steel and blurple, which is fantastic for me up until my round 8, and I played dogs, which was kind of sad. I was 7-0 going into the last round. I think there's only like one dude that I can hit, or like 2 maybe, that are on dogs that are my same bracket. So pretty low odds to hit it at the last time, but then I hit it, and I lost the die roll against it. It was super, super close. It was like, it wasn't the full aggressive dog, and I didn't realize this until like mid game 2, because that does change some of the mulligan stuff. And I played this exact same 60 with this guy's friend in Top Cut with open deck list, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't be that scared at all. I have time to do stuff. But he found his really aggressive lines. He found his double tramps to buff the 0-3 lady, which was about the only aggressive thing to do. And he got there on like, essentially, I remember what happened was like it ended up coming down to Mowgli just ripping everything, and Ursula. Like I went for the fast Prince Philip lines because I didn't know it was like the less aggressive, and he played like double or triple Mowgli and like got my turn 4 out of my hand because I had the turn 4 shift on the draw. And then game 3 it happened where he like, I had the combo, he like double tramped and found the Ursula and get away. So that was the only loss. Other than that though, my other matchups were fantastic. I started off playing like a couple blurples and some purple steel, and like just was destroying everything. For anybody that doesn't know, like this whole season have had the hardest time winning die rolls. I think no copium, I've had like 20-25% win rate die rolls, except this event. Like up until here, my like last 8 tournaments was just atrocious, like whether I did well or bad at the tournament. And this tournament, I was like, my goal was like, all right, I'm trying to win percent of my die, 50% is my day. And the first 4 rounds, 3 of the 4 I rolled a perfect 12. So I was like, okay, the curse is broken. This is the one. We're going hard. We don't have to worry about the die roll curse anymore. I went, I think 4-4 for my die rolls day 1, and it felt like I was cheating. So obviously it's good matchups too. Like if I'm going even in die rolls against matchups that I want to see, like that's gonna feel good. But like it really felt like I was playing a different game compared to other tournaments where I was winning 1 or 2 die rolls all day. And so had a crazy good day 1. Nothing super notable. Like I think I had most rounds were 2-0s. Like, and if it wasn't, it was like I was barely lost the one game that I lost. So I felt super, super strong going into day 2 with that.
Fungus, before we get into your day 2, I had a question for you and Sky as well. The Blurple matchup is interesting to me. As somebody that has not played either of those decks this format, has played against both of them a lot, is that a really, really favorable matchup for Emerald Sapphire? Is Blurple something that you definitely want to see? From the outside looking in, it just seems like, they have 4 Hades. They might be able to, fight and battle against your one of big characters that you're sort of playing once per turn. How does that usually play out?
Yeah, I'd say it was closer in set 9. The tools we got this set, with Prince Philip means that we have like one big other card advantage angle if they cut us off of a Clarabelle line. So their strategy is, for the most part, ink their entire hand, right? And the way we would battle it in set 9, if you played the deck back then, the way I coached to was like, okay, if they ink their entire hand, we are not playing Clarabelle anymore. Now we're gonna like use our You're Welcome on our T-pose and stuff and play this really anemic fair game. Which was the best way to combat it at the point. But now, if they go super wide and they like just sandbag a Hades, we just keep playing 4 drops until they play Hades, and eventually we'll just board wipe because they don't press that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So that we have so many more ways to get card advantage now than we used to, between Cindy, a Donald obviously, which we had before, and then the board wipe themselves getting like 2-for-1s and 4-for-1s, or these big swings that they still have to deal with a body afterwards. So I think it is favored if you know how to go about it, and they definitely fall into the trap of they can't keep a heavy hand. They can't they can't keep this hand where they're holding on to genies and holding on to removal and just kind of playing at a slower game, because Clarabelle will get them. If they go super wide, then Philip's going to get them. So it's you really do have them trapped both directions. That being said, for me, I believe it's probably our least favorite Amethyst matchup, but I felt pretty confident into it. Like I was 2-0ing Blurples left and right. Like you drop games, they definitely have ways to win. But if you are going about it correctly, and especially with our version of this deck, I think the Mother Knows Best with the improvise and stuff, we have all these little advantages playing that game that they can't use their strategy they normally use just in a vacuum. It just won't work all the time.
Does that make sense to you, Sky, as well?
I agree with most of the stuff, but I would say I have the opposite opinion on where I would rank that as the hardest / easiest Amethyst matchup. I actually think this is Blue-Green's best matchup. I think my ranking as far as Amethyst goes would be Blurple's the easiest, Amethyst Steel next, and Red Purple is the worst, which I think is literally
whoa. You forgot about Amber Amethyst, bro.
Amber Amethyst.
That's got to be tough,
hardest.
right?
It's tricky.
Yeah,
it's a little tricky.
They have double Mowgli. They can set up for that correctly if they play it right, and they have guidebook pair down their hand as well. Blurple did get a few new tools. They have the guidebook. If they play really smart, they can get their hand down to very little. But the main advantage you have in this matchup is that they're still slow.
Yeah.
Like Purple Steel is a great matchup as well, but if they have a triple 1-cost opener into Cobra, into Doc, Strength, stuff like that, it can always get sketchy, and they can just sneak games that they shouldn't. Or also if they're playing Pete, that can help a lot, like get them to 17, 18 really hard board states to always answer. But Blurple is so slow to the point where you're never gonna have to play for a turn 5 Prince Phillips, so you're never gonna mulligan for that. And also they are a turn ahead of Purple Steel with playing stuff like and Elsa into Demona, so they can always keep your little Clarabelle dangerous, so you don't have the shift. But there's such strong play lines you can do, like Fungus said, with more 4 drops. My favorite is Tipo or Sail into Donald on turn 3, and then turn 4 Cinderella plus 1-cost Clarabelle. That is pretty much checkmate. What are they gonna do? They can play a 5-cost Elsa that turn, or Demona if or no, they can't play Demona. Or no, if they went first, they could play Demona. But if they're going second, they could play Elsa. So either way, they have an outlet to tap your stuff. But they can't take it out all. And even if they take out 2 things, one, those things are getting damaged. So they have to play a bad slow card like Cheshire Cat to get that off and take a turn off. Or it just leaves them open for a hard cast Prince Philip later if you don't have the combo, which is super strong because it takes out maybe 2 things. It's an evasive threat that can take out another evasive thing. They probably have to play Hades on it, and that's just slow play also. To me, if you go something like double 4-drop and checkmate them just by playing 2 4-drops, that matchup is crazy. Even if they go first, normally a matchup is okay, you have to look at what do they have to do going second to lock me out of the game. And if they still have ways to lock you out of the game and they're going second, that's not a good sign. And if it's just means playing 2 4-drops, whether it's double Cindy or Donald Cindy, that's not a great spot. Because I think if you literally just play double 4-drop and have a bounce and a hard cast Clara, the game is just over. Because even if you don't have the Cindy plus Clara after the Donald, you can still just hard cast a Clara, and if one of your 4-drops is gonna live, unless they threw everything in and had really unfavorable trades and way too much resources into that, you're gonna have something to sing a bounce, and you're just gonna be in a good spot. Even if you just draw 3, all you have to do is assemble the combo within 4 turns after that. It's felt so crazy. I think I lost 1 game against Blurple, maybe the whole event, and I played a bunch of it, 5 best of 3s, something like that, 4 or 5. I don't know. It felt very similar to Purple Steel, but they just didn't have any sort of avenue to do triple 1-drop into just barely getting to 20 with a Cobra. So I thought the matchup was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's great. Like, obviously, it's.
Yeah.
I think to Sky's point, I think I only lost one game against Blurple, and it was DKP. Like, and I'll take it. And
Yeah.
he had to get a little bit lucky. Like, he went Demona into Demona into Demona, I want to say, and like was just crushing it. So like it is what it is. I'll take that L and move on. On the play, I think it's if there are certain hands they can never win in a million years. Like
Yeah.
you go
Sure.
one two shifts and you're welcome, and they don't get to play those games. Like you saw me do that against Rob in the top 8. Like he had probably the perfect hand, like for against blue green. He inked his entire hand, and I like you're welcome to Royal Guard drew like 3 cards, and he was still just so far behind he never got to play. It was so it, on the draw is kind of where I have context for this matchup, but yeah, I don't think it's that close. Like I think all the Amethyst decks you probably still pump the fist, even Amethyst Amber. Like they have tools to what Sky is saying. Like World's Greatest Criminal Mind, if they're not the combo version, that obviously is a little bit of a pain, but you can cut them off of being able to do it efficiently. So there's a lot of times when if you can just draw 3 cards with Clarabelle, or 2 cards with Clarabelle, even they still have to like take a whole turn cycle or most of their turn cycle to World's Greatest this thing, and at some point you're going to board wipe them and the game will be over. So it's yeah, I don't think any of the Amethyst decks have really great game into this deck, at least the way they're built right now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I mean, you guys proved that throughout the weekend. Fungus, what was your day 1 like? Your Saturday? What was your record going into that pivotal day number 2? Anything interesting happen on Saturday?
Yeah, I had some close ones.
Okay.
I wouldn't like Sky. I actually played. I had to grind a little bit. So first round, I played a person I knew, someone from Sailors chats that I had like like had a lot of conversation with. I knew he was a decent green blue player, so I had a green blue mirror round 1. You know, I think I played it well, but I found my bends at the right time and kind of shut that one out. So, but still ended up having to play like a real player and not just somebody who was like there for hadn't put the time in. I definitely knew this player. I put the time in.
Yeah.
And then immediately in my round 2, I had to play green, purple, burn.
Yeah.
On the draw. So and the shout out to that guy. He was super cool. Like we had a lot of good conversation, but you could tell he was like, showed up with this deck, whatever. He wasn't like putting in a ton of time with this deck or haven't really even played the matchup. So he didn't really care what I was doing. He was just doing his own thing.
Okay.
But so I ended up getting it, but all of the games were, if anything had not broken in my favor at certain points, I just lose. I think across those games, I played Clarabelle like 15 times, like little Clarabelle. Because I would just have to play multiples to try to win the game. I would shut down his hand, shut down his board with John Silver's, and he would sometimes just, here's Gathering Wisdom and Knowledge, I'll lose. So in the last game against him, as a matter of fact, I basiled his hand completely to 0, couldn't present lethal exactly, and put him to 0 cards. He had like triple Curse Merfolk in play after I played Clarabelle 5 times that game, between Mother Knows besting my own Clarabelle and basiling my own Clarabelles, just to blow up Inkcasters and Amethyst Chromacons, right?
Yeah.
Just getting rid of the item so he can't continue to draw cards. He was at 19 lore when he lost, and anything kills me. I had triple John Silver in play, and I still he's just casually off the top, getting tons of lore. So it was a scary. That was probably the hardest match of the day. It was like, and he didn't care at all. He was just not a. He was like, I'll lose, whatever, moving on. So it wasn't.
You're sweating
like
bullets, and he's like,
I'm just dying. I'm dying. Like, oh God, please, not like this.
Burn cards, I think, right? So like, it's like a third of the deck. If you're ever in a top deck spot, especially if they have a Chromacon like out, like sometimes multiple, it's like, dude, you gotta miss real bad for this to be playable.
Yeah.
So I snuck that one out. I ended up 7-0, but I think on my 6-0, I had to play a dogs player on the draw. I'm like, all right, this is going to be my loss. It's fine. We'll get there. I was able to squeak it out. There was a game 2 where I was on the play where I went like just flooded the board with bodies. I went like 1-drop, Clarabelle, Tipo, Philip, and then ended up like naturally drawing the combo, but he Ursulaed it out of my hand. So he took the Malicious Mean Scary out of my hand, but I still had Big Philip. And there was a turn in which I was just setting up to to potentially kill a few things. So I went like Clarabelle attack a Daisy, like Tipo attack a Tramp, something like that, and just like putting damage on bodies to shift Philip and try to like at least try to contest the board. And afterwards, he like head in hands, I guess it just slipped his mind that Philip could be shifted and still do value because he killed off the Clarabelle, killed off the Tipo with characters that did not have damage on them. So he went like challenge, knocked those two things out, and I was like, what just happened? He didn't quest for two, so he lost two lore there. I shifted Philip, killed everything except for one character, and then attacked the last character. So that was a little bit of a miracle.
Yeah.
And then in game 3, I drew double of the combo pieces, so he could not rip out Malicious Mean Scary out of my hand. So I like turn 4, Philip shifted with the combo and just got complete luck. Did exactly what my deck had to do to win a situation that was nearly unwinnable. So I definitely skated by. Was 7-0 in first seed at that point, and like Sky, I played another Dogs player, and this guy I took a game, which was a miracle in of itself. But Mookster got me in 3 games, just doing dog stuff to me. So still feeling okay, 7-1 at the end of day 1. But I had a little bit rougher journey. I had to squeak by a few.
Okay, so you're both X1 going into day 2, both sort of it is sort of like a cinematic story. You're both having your own different unique journeys, both lose to the same thing, and now you're going into day 2 with basically the same deck, right? It's only one card different, one improvised, one John Silver. It's not even like a different card, it's just a different number that you were playing, which is, it's just so cool that happened. It like pretty much independently. I know you guys talked at CCS, but not since. It's not like you were deck building or play testing together. So that was really cool. And now you're going into day 2. You're both X1. You're feeling pretty good, but you do have to get it done. It's not impossible that you could lose 2 here and not make it. So what's the mindset going into this second day? And how did you both do? Obviously, you made it into the top cut, but how did it go?
As far as mindset, like, my first thought was always like, man, last year's DLCs was so much easier to top cut because like there's so much more Lorcana played in 12 rounds, and like going 7-0 and then like losing my last round of the day 1. So one of my worst matchup, but it was funny because I was given like the cards to beat it. Like I thought it was the normal fast version of dogs, and like my first game going on the draw, I had the turn 4 just in hand. I had like the Tipo, the Sail, the 3-cost Prince Philip, and both combo pieces. I was like, wait a minute, maybe I can sneak this one out. Unfortunately, he had double mo instead of going more aggressive stuff, so I just like took my stuff away. But like, so I was like a little bit like, man, I still gotta go 3-1. Like that's tough. Like this is a harder day. Like that's still
against
not
tougher
like,
competition, right?
Yeah. It feels weird to go from 7-0 like, okay, like I just go even day 2 and I'm fine, right? But no, you still realize like, you get one life, and that doesn't feel great. But I did know the field was very favorable for us still. Like all day, the day before, it was like I looked to my left and right. It was either Blurple Mirrors or like Blurple versus Purple Steel. There's only a couple dogs floating around. I already played one of the players that was playing dogs that was up there with us. So I felt good. I was like, I gotta probably get unlucky still to hit like multiple dogs and have a rough time. I go to my round 1. I think it was Blurple again, a super nice guy who I played. I think at Ink, I believe, last time, and he was playing Blurple then. I think I actually played 2 people my day 2 were people I played at Ink. So
shout out.
Shout out to those guys, and hopefully we'll see you again next Ink. But yeah, I played Blurple round 1. He played very well. He played interesting lines that you don't normally play, like double 1-cost stuff with the guidebook to get down to really low cards. Didn't end up getting there for him. I think he missed ramp one of the 3 games that took him out, but he did take a game off me. I was one of the few people that took a game. I played a Purple Steel also, and that one was a little bit less close. I believe I 2-0'd him. I remember I think it was game 2. I didn't show improvise game 1, and like I was like, okay, here it is, boys. Like I know he's running Palace Guard. Let's run it up. I kept the improvise in hand. Turn 1 Palace Guard pass, and I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I got it. and anybody that has played this matchup, that is like so bad. Play or draw, like that takes off 4 lore from their team or from their lore total. And often these games come down to it, they have the last Cobra or sometimes double Cobra, so like that just takes outs like that out. So
Yeah.
I got there versus that. What else did I play? I played. I think next one was the Green Blue Mirror. Yeah. It was the only match where I had a draw. Actually, the only match where I went to turns. We barely even finished the second game. This was on stream. I was a little bit upset about it because I lost the die roll and went second both games. But and the guy was like one of those players that really likes to talk like throughout the whole thing. Like he was just talking so much about like back in the day what he used to play Magic and used to do like these like high level money drafts against all these players. I'm like, dude, that's cool, that's great, I'd love to talk to you about it another time, but like we are playing the matchup that's like the most prevalent to go to like time. So
Yeah.
Didn't even get to start the game 3. Felt really bad about that. Like I think body language on the stream, I was really not feeling good, kind of shaking my head a little bit, stuff like that. But I had to lock in after that. I played, who did I play? I think it was Purple Steel again. Or no, it was Blurple. It was Blurple my last round. And this guy, super nice guy, I think his name was Moxie. I win the die roll. I'm going first. It's a good matchup. And this dude, like, giga bricks. Like, he missed ramp, no one cost. Like, he's just sitting there, inking and passing, going second. This is not the way your run to end. And I remember I had a good hand, like, 4 cost into Clara Shift into 1 bounce spell, and then I'm drawing like 9 cards or something with my Clarabelle. So just not even games at all for that one for the most part. I think he had a rough hand going the second game as well. Super nice guy though. I think he was a high seed though, and he did get the pass down, so like that felt good to get rewarded for that. So shout out to that guy. So yeah, that was really good for going from Swiss. Like I had 1 draw, 1 loss. I knew my seeding was bad for my 10-1-1s because I think 10-1-1 took like 5th through 11th, and I was legit the last 11th, which sucks because that means I probably am going second every match other than my first one. But that actually didn't happen. I actually only went. I think I only went second 1 time in Top Cut, which is crazy being 11th seed, but that's just how it worked out. So my Top Cut, are we doing just Swiss, or we want to go to Top Cut? I feel like I should tap in Fungus here. I'm just blabbering for way too long. All right, we'll go Fungus. I'll talk about Top Cut after.
So while Sky was playing Amethyst decks, I'm over here. So my first round coming back in of day 2, I played a Purple Steel, and decent. Obviously we have a really good matchup there, but the wheels just fell off for 2 games in a row. And this guy had like the Timothy Mouse, like super fast, aggressive starts both games, and he just made me have it, which is exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah.
And I just never found anything both games. So, and I'm bad headspace at that point. I'm like, I just lost my good matchup. I'm supposed to win my good matchups because I'm going to find a bad matchup. Like it's going to happen. There has to be a dog player hunting here somewhere. So I lost that match, and then I'm, mentally kind of like, okay, X3 is fine. It's better than last year, or better than Milwaukee rather. I never actually. So to Sky's point earlier, I wish I had played last year. I never got a ticket to any of the DLCs last year.
Oh wow!
The only one I theoretically got a ticket for was Atlanta. The day after I was already out of town, I got off the waiting list, and I'm like, yeah, just what. So if people talk about all the plumbers and stuff that are running around in the early DLCs, and I wish I could have played those. But so I never played any. Milwaukee was my first DLC. I was sick for Milwaukee. And I lost every single dice roll in both days. So I lost every dice roll on day 1, and I played the Infinity side event the next day, and I lost every one but my last round. So like I threw the dice away. There's a whole story there that I gave those dice away to another person on site.
Yeah.
They were like, they said, "Hey, I forgot my dice," and I'm like, "I have a whole pile of dice. You can have all of these." They are cursed though, and that dude apparently went deep with those dice. Funny enough. Anyway, so I play Purple Steel and lose, which you're not supposed to do, and I'm like feeling terrible. And then the next round, I on the play, so I won die roll. I had no clue what he's playing, so I just kept like a Turbo Clarabelle hand, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get him. Hopefully, this hand gets there. He's on Amber Steel. He's on like Sky's deck from last season.
Okay.
So, which isn't good if you don't have Under the Sea in your deck. Like, you could probably get there, but like it doesn't
Even
feel
with them,
great.
it's pretty bad. Like,
Yeah, well, they have
if you set up
strength and they have ways to
you
break
set
you
up
up.
double singer, yeah, they can strength one of them, and that taking off one turn is terrible.
So he didn't know. I guess he didn't know what I was on, which is great. I guess, low profile player or whatever at that point. He didn't know what I was on, so I welcomed him like twice, and somehow got the first game. Second game, he obliterated me with daisies. In the third game, I got MMS combo on a reasonable turn, and he got like 18 lore, and John Silver's got like squeaked across the finish line. So I knew, and I'll call back to like yesterday, the day before. Like, when I beat dogs on the draw in like round 6, deep into the tournament, like I went and like converged with my people or whatever, just like, hey, I just did a crazy thing that I'm not supposed to do. Like Kendall from World Class Cards was like, yeah, you're gonna win this event. Like, you're not supposed to do that, and this is just your event. You've been like you're beating purple green decks. You're winning, against dogs on the draw without Under the Sea in your deck. Like, this has to be your tournament. There's some kind of special. Someone loves you. So after I beat Amber Steel, I'm just like, again, minor goals. Like, okay, cool. If I lose another one, it's fine. I still like made good on this event. Get the Simba, sell that thing. It'll help cover costs, all that good stuff. Top 32 would be awesome. But minor goals at this point. I ended up playing. I believe I played Blurple the next round, not particularly close, and then I played a green-blue Ink Geyser deck on the draw in my last round, which I did not know was an Ink Geyser deck until he Ink Geysered me. So I got at least one game, and then had to play this tightrope around Ink Geyser along with all the other green-blue things in the other 2 games. But he missed ramp on one of the games, and I was able to capitalize on it, and was able to get in there. But I had like a really kind of a wild ride. I played, I think, everything you could have played in that tournament.
Yeah.
Over the course of all days. I think I played Ruby Amethyst. I played all the Amethyst decks at least once. I played Amber Steel, which is apparently part of the meta. I played Dogs multiple times. So the deck is just strong, man. Like, and especially if you put the reps on it, and if your opponent is not on the top of their game, you do have a lot of ways you can win the game. So that's kind of what I learned going into top 32. So I was just feeling great to be there. I was just like, whatever happens. I don't care. I persevered already.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're both in Top Cut. I'm sure. I mean, I know you guys have talked about it a little bit, but you were aware of each other at this point. Obviously, you had talked at CCS, but you're sort of on opposite sides. And just, yeah, talk me through the journey of Top Cut. And then, we can get into the finals, and we can spend as much time as you want to there. I mean, we've been going for 50 minutes, but why not make it an extra long episode with the 2 finalists of a DLC? So, yeah, let's hear it. I'm loving it.
Right? Yeah, so my Top Cut was good. My first round, I played against Purple Steel. It was a guy. It was funny because I was talking to this guy, I believe, like the round before or something about Top Cut. We were kind of talking about what we were on, like how we were feeling and stuff. And then round 1, I get paired into him. I'm walking over there, so we're smiling at each other, like, wow, it's actually us, okay. And we were sitting there for a while. We didn't know if we thought it was open deck list, but then we just sat there with no instruction for like 15 minutes. Like, nobody said anything. So we're like, oh, is this closed deck list? Like, I kind of feel like I don't think he told me what he stuff. And I was like, dang, I really wish I would have not said something. Or like just, I don't know, known what he's playing. And that was like a recurring theme. Like, this deck, like I need to get better about scouting when other people are playing and like people in my bracket, because this deck play draw is like a very different mulligan. Like, you're either on the play, blind mulliganing for Flare Bell Shift, or 60% of your matchups you need to turn 5 Prince Philip, so you're just going to go straight for that. But we end up being open deck list, and they finally passed up the list, and I was like, okay, Purple Steel, pretty standard. He might have been running Pete. I can't remember if he was running Pete, but overall, most people were not running Pete, which is one of the only scary things for Green Blue. Yeah, I was shocked at the amount of people that chose Benja over Pete. My gosh, like, if I wanted to talk to these people and ask what they thought the play rates of Dream Blue versus Dogs was, because to me it makes no sense. And yeah, Pete definitely has more utility into other matchups like the Mirror sometimes. But anyways, super nice guy. He was like, yeah, it's like my first DLC. I'm not like actually super competitive. Like, I'm kind of just like an average, player that will go to set champs and try to win and stuff. So great matchup. Improvised, put in work. I think I 2-0'd. Next matchup was also against Purple Steel, and I like to call this the scariest and hardest free game of my life.
Okay.
Purple Steel again, no tech cards. He was playing like an extra grindy list, so it was like a little bit less aggressive. He played like 4 or 5 cost Hades, like 4 guidebooks, stuff like grind it out. Like I think maybe slightly better than the average Purple Steel list versus us, but I played game 1, I won, I believe, and then game 2, or sorry, after game 1, I had a sleeve that the front of the sleeve was like kind of coming up in the corner. You couldn't see anything on the backside. It was just the clear part was like coming up off one of my sleeves, and the judge was like, "Oh, you want to replace that before game 2?" And I was like, "Sure." So I rip up the sleeve, and then I go in my bag to find an extra sleeve, and I realized that I left my sleeves in the hotel. So I had only 60 sleeves there, and I just ripped it up. So I had to re-sleeve. I didn't have an extra set of sleeves fully opaque. I had some other random sleeves, but they were like pink and too light and not fully opaque. So I had to message the boys for an emergency sleeve drop off, and they bring some heavy play sleeves in purple. Sleeve them up. We're fine. The judges are helping. Whatever. Game 2. Game 2 goes fine. I think he wins. I think maybe like I blew the combo a turn too early. I could have waited, but I think it was still the right call. It's just he played like a super grindy list, and his like last 2 cards were like double 5 cost Hades, and didn't draw any Clarabelle to draw myself. So he wins that game. Game 3, we're shuffling up. All of a sudden, I hear this like super crispy sound, and I look down, and like 15 or 20 of my sleeves had just like ripped open like all at once while I was shuffling for game 3.
That's insane.
So I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, now I have to somehow find another pack of sleeves, re-sleeve again. And for anybody that doesn't know, like Heavy Plays love their sponsor, everything, except their first print run of sleeves. Like their first print run of sleeves had like some manufacturing problems, and they will just explode. Like if you use their second run, great. I use them all the time. Unfortunately, this was the first print run. I didn't know it. So thankfully, somebody on, I think I was told NVR Shift, maybe the same team that Moxie's, that player I played, handed a judge a pair of sleeves and just like, have him use these. It was a pair of like white dragon shields. So shout out to you. I'm going to try to still find and say thank you personally. But so we re-sleeved a third time. I'm all frazzled. I'm like, this is such a good matchup. I'm going first. Like the only way I lose, this guy tries to like angle shoot me, whatever shenanigans. And it was like game 3, like I had fantastic position, like absolutely no way I was gonna lose. He was at like 4 lore, and I had like cleared his board, like 3 cards in hand, something like that. Like just no possible way. And these sleeves were like super like tacky because they're brand new Dragon Shield. And I accidentally like picked up 2 cards twice when I was drawing. I didn't see them, but like I just picked them up.
Yeah.
And like I could tell my opponent was like thinking in his head, he's like, do I try to angle shoot something right here? Like, do I like try to get a judge involved? Well, that's twice. Like that, we needed to like initiate something, and I was like really scared. But like my position was so good, but that I was like, the only way I lose is if there's some sort of angle shoot or judge call that happens here. Thankfully, he was a good guy, and he was like, no, there's nothing going on. Like I can't call anything. But I was scared for my life for how dominant of a position I had. I had like Prince Philip, John Silver, plus 2 other things on board, and he had like 1 thing maybe at 4 lore, and it was like this nerve-wracking of like, I just need to like draw 1 card for 3 more turns, like take 5 seconds drawing a single card so I don't do the same thing. But thankfully I won. Going into the next game, I was super frazzled. I got the Mickey at that point. I made it to top 8. I was feeling good about that. I actually ran into the next round, not a friend necessarily because it's the first time I'm meeting him, but somebody I knew from like the super early on days of Lorcana, who was a big fan of like my blue steel list, and he kept taking my blue steel list like set 2, set 3, set 4, and like maybe would make 1 or 2 changes, and then he kept winning events on the West Coast. Like, he was a guy from like I think California, and I would see him always winning these like 3 to 5K. Nobody knew who this guy was. Make a post on Twitter, get like 2 or 3 likes, and I was like, this dude is insane.
Yeah.
Like this is like the 5th event that I've seen this guy play, and he wins all of them. Not even just top cut, just wins. His name is Eddie Caudill. If you guys want to go give him a follow, but like he was playing the same dogs list, that mid-range list that I played the day before, and at first I was like, oh shoot, I'm cooked. Like I saw dogs, like when I just saw the list, I saw like a lady, and I'm like, I'm cooked. I got the Mickey, this is where it ends, whatever. But the more I started reading, I was like, wait a minute, this guy does not have anything aggressive. No Daisy. There's no Webby to trigger the 0-3 lady. It was literally just like 0-3 lady and trams. Like if he opens 0-3 lady plus like 1 cost plus tramp, and then next turn he can do something plus tramp to activate the lady. That's the only way he has like an start. And he didn't. And so like I was like, okay, I think I can actually mulligan for Clara, and it's fine. I have time. And I did. I had time. He went for more like rip heavy control type mulligans, under the sea type stuff, and it was not too scary. So like I got there 2-0 versus the guy, amazing. And then my last round, or not my last round. I talked about I got made to the finals, but
last round before
at this point, like we had a big break before top 4 because they're both gonna be on stream. I go to the bathroom. I'm walking around, talk to Fungus a little bit. We're like, dude, I think our matchups are good. Like, I think if the green purple deck like that loses versus Blurple somehow, like I think we're actually golden because it's just Blurple, purple steel, and then both of us. And I think like we were both like very confident into Blurple and purple steel. Like this might actually happen. Like we were joking a little bit throughout earlier in the day, and then like on day 1, we kept checking in like, oh, we're both still going, you know. But then it just like started to feel like if we don't mess up now, we could actually like make. I think on the TV, I was like asking somebody, I was like, does anybody know what the matchup is? Because I didn't have a bracket or anything. And then we both like look at the TV and see that it's us on opposite sides. We're like, okay, lock in, dude. Don't mess up now. Fungus finals. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And we did. I got purple steel. I was going second because he was a high seed 7 or something. But I had great hands. I'd turn 5 shift, mold hard for the Prince Philip both times and had it. He just had standard like 1, 2, 3 Cobra strength hands. He did mess up game 2. Game 2 was very close. He had like a really strong for having just like a standard 1, 2, 3 hand. He had like a really strong follow up with like the second Cobra plus a dock, and then but he messed up at the very end. He had 2 characters and he needed to take out a Basil, and one of his cards was a strength, and he accidentally hit his Palace card in first to my strength. And I was like, oh, it's fine. You can do a take back. Like no information gained. But the judge was like, no, we need to do a judge call for take back. I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And then the judge was like, you can only take back take back the strength, but you can't take back the challenge. And he was like, oh no, I don't think it would have mattered even if he took out my Basil.
Yeah.
I had 2 John Silvers down. He like had to find a Cobra top deck or something like that. So I got that, and then we'll I guess talk about the finals after Fungus about his day 2 or top cut.
Yeah, Fungus, how did that go? Was it anything interesting happen on your side of the bracket before your impromptu meeting with Sky, where you decided to both lock in?
I mean, I was pretty confident. Same thing Sky said. Is like there's this green purple deck floating around, but all the rest of these are good. Mm-hmm. And I was completely opposite side of the bracket. I looked at it a little bit earlier. I had to beat Luke. Like obviously Luke could have just gotten there, and but I had good hands. I was on the play. I'm pretty confident in the blue-green mirror. Like I know it. You know, I have the best shot I'm going to have to beat it. I knew the mulligan lines and stuff like that. I'm not sure how confident Luke was in his blue-green mirror match either. So, but, you know, I got decent hands, was able to pretty convincingly 2-0 that one. And then once I got that one, you know, like Sky said, kind of looked at the opposite side of the bracket, just saw, okay, I'm going to probably end up playing Blurple, and then probably be in the finals. So unless you know DKP's me, like I don't think I'm gonna lose on this side of the things. And green purple did get eliminated by Rob, so shout out Rob. Shout out Rob.
Yeah, Rob made that. When I saw that matchup, tough. But then when I saw somebody told me, he's like, oh, yeah, I think Rob just won. It was quick too. I was like, oh. Okay, let's go, baby.
What a champion. So Blurple really being the MVP for the day. But so I had to play DKP. No, I had to 3 Blurples in a row. So I had to play Freddie, who was a grinder, I think, out of Florida. I played him a bunch at CCS and other cash events. Really strong player. So I end up playing him a lot in deep cuts in top 8s and stuff. So, but I've had his number for a long time. Freddie, for whatever reason, always plays a deck that I have a good matchup into. So Freddie and I, you know, he was just happy to be there, I think. But he obviously, you know, worked hard to get there and then ran into a brick wall of a blue-green. So I had a good matchup there. I got it 2-0, I believe. Then had to play DKP. Still on the play, I believe, on that one. So I was 12th seed. So I was the top of the X2s. And then Sky, I guess, was the bottom of the X1. So he ended up being 11. So
Oh, you guys
for
were
whatever
11,
reason,
12 as well.
mhm.
That's crazy.
So DKP's match, game one, he drew every Hades in his deck, and then I decided to just draw every 7-drop Clarabelle in my deck, so it worked out great.
Nice.
So every time he Hades me, I draw another one, and I'm like, all right, this is fine. Move and so that game one could have been a lot closer if I didn't, see the card advantage engines, but I really he didn't get to play because my deck cooperated. So I guess if he's going to draw all his Hades, I'll draw all my Clarabelles, and that's fine. It's okay if we both get lucky.
Yeah.
Equivalent exchange, right? That's what
Exactly.
it costs.
Game
And
two,
more ink,
he
too.
went down to like 0 cards, and then like chained Demonas, and he got there. He like was able to wipe me out at one point. So he high rolled me pretty good. That's okay. On the draw, it's still they have the opportunity to do that, especially if they know what they're doing, and he obviously should know what he's doing. In game three, though, I had a good draw into Blurple. One of the ones I talked about, like they can't really stop you when you go turn one Clarabelle, ramp, Donald, and then just sing your welcome and shift. It happened, and it wasn't particularly close, I don't think. I try not to be rattled about big players, but obviously it's DKP. He's won a lot. If anyone's going to win this matchup or give me a tight set, it's going to be him. But it ended up being pretty wrapped up. And again, felt pretty good going into that. I was telling Sky, I think, like right before that matchup, like it's probably just to be blue green finals. It looks like a blue green finals. I had to play Rob the next round. Again, shout out to Rob for doing justice to Lorcana, and that one again wasn't particularly close. He again played well, but it was a pretty quick 2-0. You can go back and watch that matchup, but I had everything I needed to, just as God's favorite, just doing my best.
Funny thing to note about that, because we were both sitting in the stream area. They were going a lot faster than my matchup, which was going pretty fast because I was on the draw versus Purple Steel, had turn 5 Prince stuff, so the games did not last that long. But I heard I heard Fungus say, "Wow, you had like just amazing hand" or something like that, and I thought he said you had. So I was like, "Oh no, did Fungus get like bricked up?" And then like Rob just had all the answers, just got 2-0'd or something. But thankfully, when I walked out, I was like, "Oh, he won. Okay, we're good." So I got a little scared, like mid, like my match, that Fungus like somehow bricked right at the. But thankfully, he did not.
No, it's cool that you guys were like you had this sort of pact to like make it to the finals together, and were concerned with each other's run. I think that's super cool, and I think the finals sort of showed all of that like good energy come together, because it started off obviously with the 2-0 on Fungus's side, and no offense, Fungus, but like I'm friends with Sky, we're now friends, now we're doing the podcast here, but I had not met you at that point, and I was like, Sky, you have to do it. You have to, like, I'm sitting watching on my phone in my bed.
I gotta
like,
win one, right? You're like,
yeah,
don't get
like,
Rio, don't get swept, bro.
my heart was like racing, but I didn't know all of this good energy was happening in the background. So that's super
Yeah,
cool to see.
I'll say one more thing that kind of
Yeah.
like kicked off like this type of like manifestation thing was like my dad, like over the past few months, has been kind of trying to learn more about Lorcana. He doesn't play the game at all and like knows nothing at all about card games, but like he's followed like a few people like podcasts, because I'll go on a podcast and he'll see me and shit, and then watch like a couple others or something. And one day I get a text message that said like after a tournament I played, and my dad was like, "Fungus thinks this about the meta," or something like that. How do you know who Fungus is? What do you mean you've been watching Fungus? And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Just I found popped up on my phone." And so like I told Fungus that and some other people. We were just like, field day. I'm like, "Yo, we're both 7-0. Like my dad's gonna get a kick out of us playing the same deck and this and that." So that kind of like started that. I just thought it was a fun little detail to add.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
super cool.
hilarious.
Yeah, and then we get the 2-0 for Fungus, and then Sky comes back with a 2-0, and we get like the ultimate final match, and it was a really, really interesting one. And I've been saying ever since it happened, it was one of the best finals, if not the best finals in the history of Disney Lorcana. But I would just like to kick it to both of you, let you chat about it, whatever you want to talk about. Game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought it was awesome, and I want to hear you both sort of break it down the mirror and yeah, just talk about how the finals went, and I guess how you both felt about the tournament overall and your deck. We're moving into a new set. This is like the big hurrah, and one of the best ways to stamp this meta with, hey, the deck we've been championing this whole time is the best second format is to have both of you in the finals and it go to game 5, and it's like a nail biter. So I'll let you guys take it.
Yeah, so we've been saying, we were like kind of joking the whole day about this. So when we both got there and we're like sitting down for the best of 5, Fungus was like, man, I forgot it was best of 5. And I was like, yeah. So we both sat down, kind of smiling, joking, like knowing it was gonna like slog probably, because we're both, we played the mirror many times. We know what's powerful, how to go back and forth, how to drag games out, how to bend, how to set yourself up to recover from bend. So we were ready for like 2.5 hour plus like slog fest if it came to that. So we were joking, having a good time. The first 2 games for me were not great. Like I had Clara and like a bounce card, but like game 1 I missed a 4-drop. And that is just like so bad in this matchup. Like if you miss a 4-drop and you don't have like double 1-drop Clara, it's probably just over if they have a standard 4-drop into Clara shift bounce hand. And Fungus had a really good like Clara shift into double bounce hand with 4 drops. I think, dude, I can't remember if he played double Cindy, but like he played something like that. So like that was like not great. And I was like, okay, I'm probably pretty doomed. Inking and passing on turn 3 is not a great way to start the setup. Even if I have the Clara plus you're welcome, which I did, like I just don't have a singer if you bounce Clara. And even then, if you just bounce the Clara and play your own Clara, like I no longer have a singer. I can't hard cast the Clara and re-sing. So really just not set up well there. Game 2 was a little bit better. I hit a 4 cost, but Fungus had even more nuts that game. I remember there was a point where I think you played double Cindy into Clara shift, double your welcome or something, and like it was either that turn or the turn after. You got down to 0 cards and played double your welcome, shuffled my singers and my Clara. It was both my Clara bells, I think, or no, it was both. I can't remember what happened, but there was one turn where
I remember
played
that
double
game
your
because
welcome.
I played double Cindy, and then off the first Inca Cindy, I drew a second You're Welcome, and I just declined the second Cindy.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
That was like,
No,
oh,
this is fine. We'll leave it here.
I was like, I'm screwed. You got it again, like that. Okay, and like we kind of just smiled, but yeah, that was really rough. Going down to 0 cards and playing double bounce is like a super bad position to be in. That's all I'll say about the first 2. If you want to chime in, what was going through your head the first 2?
No, you bricked at a really key time on a song, I want to say, in one of those games. I don't recall which one it was, but like you had Clarabelle shift, but you and you hit me with the first song. I retaliated, and then usually the way that it goes.
I only had 1 bounce. Yep, I remember.
Yep.
I played You're Welcome, and he played his Clarabelle. I think I could have probably capitalized and had a game if I had the second bounce, but yeah, or the Basil to play, but I just didn't. So
I think I had Basil on that prior turn plus bounce or something, and that kind of just swung the momentum. And that was pretty much that's how those games go. Like it's just haymakers. If you don't continue,
that was
doing
the
the
game
thing.
where it was super interesting because I was like, I can like sail, or I can start my turn with like a sail, like ink a bunch and then double spell and pair down my hand really heavy, or I could just ink and play a second Clara and hope like if you have bounce bend, I'm just done if I don't play the second Clara. But if you have like the Basil plus bounce, like I'm just really done if I do this double Clara play. But I was like, I mean, double bounce is probably better odds than like I really would rather just not have a single bounce plus bend and just the game is over. So like I was like, all right, I'll commit to the double Clara. I think it was still the right, but like it felt real bad when the Basil plus bounce came out, and it was just, oh, there he goes, Clara's.
Yeah. So
that's more or less it.
Game 2 is over. Sky is down 0-2. Fungus, you have to be feeling pretty good, right? I mean, anything can happen in this matchup. Anything can go wrong. You're playing against Sky, one of the best players in the game. Sky, I'm sure, is feeling. I don't know what are you feeling at this point? You're down 0-2. You're facing down Fungus, who obviously is super competent as well.
Yeah, so I mean, like most of the time, like you're in this position, you're like, okay, well, pressure's off. Like I'm probably not winning this. Like it's gonna be a hard road ahead. Like I can't get like nervous now and be like, oh, I'm gonna get 3-0'd. Like I did think I was like, there's a good chance I'll get 3-0'd, but it is what I played well. I'm proud of the way I played. I may have made one mistake up until that point. It's just he had really hands, did not draw super great.
Yeah.
Myself. So I was still like having a good time. Like I'll see what we can do. And I think that game felt a lot better as far as what I had. I think I had a solid, I think it was like Donald into Cindy. And into like Clara Shift Bounce. So like exactly what I want to see on the play. So I was like, okay, I'm going first. I'll get a and we'll see where it goes from here. If I can sneak back, a couple more games on the draw, we'll take it from there. But yeah, I felt a lot better that game of what happened the first 3-4 turns, which was good.
Yeah, that was probably it was a really important game. So I had that in that hand. I did not have really a good singer hand. I think I had like a really early fill-up lined up, which is not what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
Not what you want to be doing in that matchup, but you can use that to leverage a punish sometimes. If he has the wrong type of hand, I can at least force him to play slower, and maybe I get top deck out of it. So I got like a fill up combo off. I got like you were like 2 for 2 or whatever, but I got the tempo out of it. And so there was a really critical turn, and I think it was my game to lose. I think I lost that game with an ink. There was a turn where he had like Donald in play, and I went like triple sail or something that turn. And I ended up, so I played the fill up, and I had the big Clarabelle in hand. Didn't have a song, but like, my logic was he has Donald going. If I just ink all the way down, I'm going to be rewarded for this. I thought I didn't need to ink. I probably could have just held it, but I had a 7-cost Clarabelle in hand. I had already had 6 ink in play or something with the Prince Philip in play. He wasn't able to disrupt it. Like there was not enough ink on his side of the table. So I was threatening Philip shift, and could have just held this Clarabelle 7-cost. Instead, I was like, okay, let me just ink everything, except that I don't need to. And I think I had like a song or something left in hand. No, it was a Cindy left in hand. So it was the only thing left other than the combo. So I had 3 cards in hand. He could have gone for like a Clarabelle line there. Realistically, I think that was super greed. Like I probably could have just held that Clarabelle in hand. Even if he Clarabelle shifts and you're welcomes, the Philip gets him, and then I can return. I can break serve with basically, he's going to have to deal with the Philip. I have a singer in play. I play Clarabelle hardcast and then get there. I think if I don't ink that Clarabelle, I win that game most of the time. Nothing is certain, but like the blue-green mirror is very swingy, and if you can kind of establish things in the mid game, especially before they get to their 12 ink situation, the comebacks are a little bit harder. So I think I was in the driver's seat. So I was punished for it. Like over the course of that game, I never saw another Clarabelle 7. We went fairly long on that game, if I remember correctly, but I didn't. I never saw one, and I played a lot of cards, and I'm just like, well, I'm getting punished for this early decision. To try to rely on your Donald to basically give me card advantage. And it was at that point I was starting to get in my head. Obviously we were there for a long time, but also like mental strain was starting to pull in.
Yeah, I think I say on the Elite tiers that like there was a moment in game 3 where we kind of just stopped joking and talking, and we were both just like, I guess let's just play this one and see what happens, and then afterwards we can like go back to talking. But it was like really serious for a while, and like I remember when you're saying going for the Prince line, I was like, dang it, man, I finally have his like the nuts hands that he had before with really good bounce. Like if he just plays standard 4-cost, I just bounce and draw a million cards. And then you play the Prince, and I'm like, shoot, man, this feels bad. I have all the bounce in the world. I have my Clara. Like if you go for the shift line, you're at low resources, and 2, like I have to just go for like a weird game where like I might Basil bounce your Prince. That's never too great. So like, I remember feeling really bad that you didn't just play like a Donald or a Cindy yourself.
Yeah, and I thought about that when I kept that hand, right? Like I thought about like, okay, this is not the standard line, obviously, but there are a lot of matchups where you can go like Philip combo and then play a Clarabelle directly after, and that'll lock up the game. This is usually not like the ideal line, but if you mulligan in such a way that you couldn't play around that, and I figure you would, like I thought, okay, I might get him, and so I don't think I mulligan many cards.
Yeah, it is a valid trump card. If you don't have that great of a line to play back into, like a solid Clara shift line, like Prince Philip has Ward, just you have the first clear. Like maybe they just don't have a great hand right after. It's a source game left. Like it's a valid tactic to look for sure.
Yeah, so I mean I was kind of playing an angle just because I was up, right? Like but I think the angle was there, and I could have won with it if I had like executed better. So
there's plenty of times this weekend where that came up, where you play the combo and you have a Clara as your last card, and like get lucky and find the bounce like within 1 or 2 turns, like you just win the game off of it.
Mhm. I think I got an aggressive quest line going in that game. I think you like found John Silver. Like he's never good in this matchup, but like he like actually won you the game. Because I think I had 2 Print Phillips going at one point because I had so much ink. And
John Silver is so funny because if you play John Silver and make something that I can't, like I think like a lot of times it's like you John Silver, my Prince Philip, but then I John Silver, you're John Silver, so the next turn I'm like 1 turn ahead. My John Silver can always quest, and my Prince can also quest. So it's like crazy that they kind of have this weird back and forth. Whoever plays the first John Silver might just get punished by your opponent having a card that's a John Silver that's, you don't want to keep them because it's not a great card in the matchup, but it does occasionally come out in those like low resource games after the combo.
Yeah, for sure. No, that was definitely where my mental went. Ooh, my soul was like I thought I squandered it. Like
after that game 3.
After the game 3, yeah. Because
I will say as a general note, you are very like wear your emotions on your body language a lot. Like every vision you played, I could tell if I was just buried or not, just based on the way you were like moving the cards and your facial expressions. So like I remember, like I think it was that game. I was like, this game feels a lot better, or like I like the body language better in this game than last game because there's like a vision you clearly didn't find what you wanted with it.
No, yeah, for sure. Like, it's not something that happens all the time, but it definitely was like losing control at that point, like mentally, physically, emotionally. It was like
You're probably not nearly as like easy to read it other than this moment, but it's like a huge like,
for sure.
Like there is a chance I lose, right? Like that's never a good feeling to have.
Yep. No, I could feel it. The other thing, like I'll overshare here a little bit. Like I've been, so I've lost a lot of weight recently. I'm a big dude already, but I was a much bigger dude. I've been on like, I got like meds that like make me kind of sleepy. So like I had been chugging Red Bulls this entire weekend. That's how I was living. And I was like, we've been playing so long that I didn't have more caffeine to keep me like continuing to be up. So I was like feeling that too. So at one point, like you saw me on stream, like, oh my God, this is my brain and my body are about to fall out. So it was, no, you had it, like the youth was on your side at one point there, man. Like you definitely like, I was feeling it.
Sky is a nocturnal animal, so he was probably in his element for sure. But now we're going into. Sorry, go ahead.
I felt good. I was just gonna say I felt good like up until like the very last game. I think I started to like feel a little bit of like pressure and like I'm not feeling like myself, but yeah, overall I felt pretty good. I was riding the vibes, like the runner's highs, I would say, equivalent to card players.
Yeah, so we're going into game number 4. Fungus, you're feeling a little less good. Sky probably feeling a little more good, a little better. We're going into this penultimate game number 4, right? And Fungus was on the play this time. This was for the first time, right, of the match?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in this match going on the play, do you recall what your opener looked like?
I was horrible. I mulliganed 7 and did not find ramp. So I think I had double 1-drop Clarabelle and then nothing to play for several turns, something like that. So I was like, well, this is done. Guess we're going to game 5. I think we actually did play the game a little bit. I don't remember exactly what happened in between, but it was, I don't think I was ever really in that one. So it definitely was like flip the other side.
Yeah, when Fungus missed ramped, I thought the exact same. All right, I have a solid hand. Even if he has like what he needs to make this a game, it's such a bad. It's like me missing 4-drop at game 1. Such a like you can do some stuff at the start, but you're setting yourself up so far behind, like ink wise, that you're just closing off all these options that you want to have, like and need to have if they just have a standard line. So I was feeling really good. Like we were. I mean, it sucks to have like one game not be what you want, but at that point, like the game before, I thought people were probably falling asleep up until the end of game 3. It was probably the combo or something, like the John Silver to stop the quest, maybe. But like then the crowd like erupted, and I was like, wait a minute, people might actually be watching this, and the casters were going crazy. Okay, let's get some energy here. Let's get it going. Then he obviously missed ramp. I was like, okay, we probably are gonna have a game 5 here. Let's come alive. And yeah, so I felt my hand was very good. He missed ramp, obviously. I'm not sure exactly what happened that game. He had some solid stuff with the Clara and a bounce, but like it just compounded, like missing ramp is just so detrimental. So it doesn't really matter play draw at that point.
And then we're going into game number 5, and I'm sure the emotions are now like super heightened. And now we're getting into the final one here, and we've seen that the deck obviously can win on the draw in this mirror. It really comes down to, like you said, Fungus, those big haymakers, those big swinging turns that can really change things. But even then, things can swing back really quickly. And we saw like the bend happen from Sky, and when he played the bend, I was like, okay, well, I don't know much about this matchup, but I know that bend is really good, and the first person to do it usually wins, and he got rid of your bend when he did that, and I was like, okay, well, Sky probably won. And then things just like slowly started to change, and it got really tense. Anyway, I want to hear both of your perspectives of this game number 5, because I think it was one of the most exciting caps of a match I've ever seen in Disney Lorcana, for sure.
So one of the ways you there's two ways to play around bend, right? Obviously have a Clarabelle in play and make them get rid of it. But Donald obviously is your other one that just can draw you out of it. And when he bent me, so there are a couple of things that are already like kind of gone wrong, and I had to kind of account for this. So I Clarabelled pretty early. I had a good hand. It was like a Donald into Clarabelle shift, and was able to get a decent You're Welcome off, draw a good hand, draw up pretty well. He had a good retort, obviously, but I had the initiative. There was the turn in which the turn after I played double Phillip was the turn really. So I played double Phillip instead of like a John Silver going for more ramp or whatever, because my hand didn't really wasn't shaped that well, and I'm just like, I'm already ahead. I'm just going to put a ton of pressure on the board and make him like play 2 angles. So I went for the double little Phillip, having inked 1 Phillip already. And just like I want to say You're Welcome his singer at the time or whatever, just to take him off of being able to disrupt me. But when he bent me, I had an active Donald. I was like, okay, there's a lot of draws that get me out of this. Bend, and his bend is gone. I was actually pretty ecstatic that he had to bend there, and maybe you didn't have to bend there, but I don't know if you had a better play. Like Donald being in play means I can top deck Clarabelle and basically just immediately get back in the game. I can top deck Visions. There's a bunch of stuff that puts me in that game, and I've just had momentum already. I think I was questing for quite a bit every turn. There was an earlier turn where I misplayed, like looking back, like I swung into Tipo to like prevent you from like shifting and challenging with Tipo and challenging with Clarabelle. I don't think that was real life. If I had actually quested with that Donald early on, that game was a non-game a little bit. We don't even get into a Tipo situation. So so I was playing like super conservatively because I thought I had it wrapped up. Like I thought, like, okay, this hand is good enough. I know how to play around this. Even if he bends me here, I'm good. Like that was what's going through my head. There was a critical turn where I like drew a bunch of cards off of Clarabelle, and he had the bend I think in hand, and I was still playing around bend best I could, but he just like played Singer Go, and I didn't have a song to disrupt him or take it out. So that's when I think either You're Welcomed or Mother Knows Best, I forget which one it was, took out my Clarabelle. It was just Donald, Phillip, and you bent me. At that point, like I was, mentally, I was like so high on myself because I just drew like 6-7 cards. And the first card I drew off of those 6-7 cards was bend. I'm like, okay, game's over next turn. Like he doesn't get to play anymore. And then he bent me, and then I'm like, okay, crap. I still have Donald in play. Like I'm still in the driver's seat. Like there's a lot of draws that get me here because he wasn't close to Phillip. Like he needed at least 2 turns to get some kind of Phillip combo going. Which you played, like kudos to you, man. You played excellently there. Like obviously you counted your ink and was like, okay, I have this much time before I die, and got exactly there what he needed. Obviously, I drew him like 10 cards, so he was going to have something wrapped up. But I didn't think I lost when the bend happened. Obviously that like puts a pit in your stomach when you have your own bend, and like next turn I 1,000% like lock the game up. But I was still feeling pretty good. Like I knew I had board position. Donald is still there. I have a lot of live draws. Didn't see a Clarabelle for the rest of the game. Like I never saw a 7-cost Clarabelle like for any irrelevant turns. So that is what it is. So I didn't find the song on that critical turn, got bent, and at that point just questing as hard as I can. He was able to like Phillip combo me, obviously, I think a couple turns later, but I had already gotten enough lore. And then we got to the critical turn where I think I was at 17 when all was said and done. Had Tipo that was going to get one more quest off at least, which he did. And I visions develop looking for the last 3-drop Phillip, and nothing's there. And I'm like, okay, well, it obviously is either on top of my deck or something. So, we got to that situation, but I really didn't plan to be able to dig out of that unless I drew that 3-drop Phillip on that exact turn, and obviously didn't see it. But like, here's this Tipo, like, and I'm like, all right, I guess I can play all of these. Let's see what happens. And like on your side, I don't know if there was more game to that, but like, I did not doubt, did not look at your bouncing that Tipo and think, okay, I'm in this game now. Like, I definitely did not like cross my mind until I looked at my hand the next turn, and I'm like, all right, I mean, must have 2 removal spells,
Yeah,
but you had a
into
ton of
all
cards.
the data and everything about what's through my head, then I will say that what I did was just wrong. Like, no matter which
Yep.
angle you look at it, like the data proves that I made multiple mistakes the turn before the last.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go through a little bit more of the rest of the game because it was pretty interesting. So I had a pretty standard hand, I think, like Clear Lines, and it came down to that turn where like I was like, okay, I have a Cindy, I have the bounce and bend. He already played like 1 or 2 bounce cards. Like maybe he misses on the bounce, and like my Singer can stick. I can bounce his Clara, and then I have enough time to, like pray. I had 2 Prince Phillips in hands. I didn't have the combo. Never had the combo game. I don't even know if I inked one of the combo pieces. I just knew that I had at least, like, I was like in my head counting, okay, if I inked one combo piece, I have 1 MMS, I have 3 left in deck, and I can probably find one. So I want to keep the second Prince Philip. But yeah, the bend was like, okay, I hit the bend. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a chance in this game. And it's funny that you say you thought you were like still fine, because I remember seeing like, oh my gosh, like, no, like there's a window for me to lose this. You got to be. But you played a super solid, like the double Philip was very good. Like if you compare it to like playing a bigger character like the John Silver, like if I would have been able to just, one, you'd be at 2 less lore because it's 1 less quest, but also my Tipo hitting just that one character and taking out Donald plus John Silver, it only leaves you with 1 character left after just hard casting the Prince Philip. So like that was a really heads up play of like, okay, if he does have the bounce bend, I need to just like play to scrape by to 20. So that happened. I still was like, okay, I have a second Prince Philip. I have some time. I could probably find another combo. Takes Clarabelle and gets out of it. My goal is to find the other Malicious Mean and Scary and just like win from there. I'm trying to think of what's happened after I played the Prince Philip. So I played Prince Philip. You had a Donald draw plus draw for turn. You played the Basil.
When you played Prince Philip, my Donald had damage on it. So
yeah,
like remember, because I challenged that Tipo.
Right. So
like instead of questing, like that was actually kind of a critical turn. It ended up being like, because that Philip took out a Philip and the Donald and took my clock away.
Yeah,
really.
So you were left with 1 of the Prince Phillips left, and I think something else, and then you top decked a Basil, and I was like, oh man, come on, like this. If he could miss 1 time, like there was no way he had the clock at all. I had like my own Basil, I had another Prince, I had, I think, Mother Knows Best, and like a Vision or something. But one thing I glazed over was that the turn before I played the bend turn, I inked a Vision, which I was like, okay, I could maybe use this to find my Malicious Mean and Scary if I do need the double combo, because I don't have a Singer up the turn before. I'm going to have to just hardcast one of these Phillips no matter what. So like that's the reality of that. But like if I could find a second one with a Vision, that's fine. But I think the only inkables in my hand was Basil, which I definitely did not want to get rid of that because it's single target removal after the turn. And my second Prince. So I was like, I guess I have to ink it. Maybe it was wrong. It's hard to see my hand when I rewatch this stuff, but I also remember thinking I don't even have ink to play the 2-cost Vision when I do bend, and I turned out I had exactly 2 ink left over on that turn. So I was like, shoot, okay, maybe I should have kept that. But anyways, going after that, I had like a Basil, a Mother Knows Best, a second Prince in hand, and I was like, I think my draw for the turn was the improvise. We'll go to the turn where I messed up. He was at 8. He was at 18. He had 1 card in hand from my Donald draw. my mind was like thinking, okay, like most he can do is if I bounce this Tipo, he can like double spell with a 2-quester and a 1-quester. If it's the Prince, whatever, I'm done, right? Like I need to somehow find my Malicious Mean and Scary. But anything else, like I have 1 bounce in hand, I'm right. Like he can quest for 1 H, same as 19, whatever. And I was like, okay, well if he does top deck the Prince, this like I lose no matter what. I have to either top deck my Malicious Mean and Scary or top deck my last Clarabelle to shift. And honestly, I might have not even had, because I remember inking 2 before. I think I did have 1 left, kind of like you having the Prince, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't like gone back and counted. But I was like, okay, well, if I quest here instead of hit, I go to exactly where if I find the Clarabelle shift on my last turn, I have 20. I'll just end the 1 turn early. Either way, I should have, if I hit, it takes off the avenue of, either triple Tipo or Cindy double Tipo. You had only 8 inks, so I was like in my mind, like there's no way he gets the triple character. I do think it's like if you do the 1-2% double draw to hit that. So like it's not like a giga punt, like it was a straight blunder, like terrible. I think the math was still just crazy low to see that happen. But as the old saying goes in card games, always push, right. But yeah, either way, I think not ink the You're Welcome. If I don't hit what I need and he hits the Prince, I can use it as a draw to try to find my my Malicious Mean and Scary, and then I like sing with my Mother Knows Best to bounce my fill up and just play the combo again, and then win 2-turn clock from there. Either way, it was wrong. There was some logic, and it was still just, I think, 1 to 2% like a chance to punish, but it did happen, and that's the stuff you need to look for. If you have games completely sealed, you look for any out when you're playing. I think part of it was like I have this bad habit. I think it might have like gotten worse because of the sleeve thing. I was like, I get to a point where I'm so ahead in the game and I'm starting to think of their outs and think of nothing, and then I'm like, okay, maybe the only way I lose is if I take time and I like get and like in a spot like that, obviously it's already taken a lot. It's like the stupidest place to start having those like fears and but that stuff like does happen, and like I think it's happened to me several times. Important moments where I just like rush a little bit too much and then like don't think of that last out. Like obviously here it kicks me, but that is like something that goes into my head. Like I start to be like, well, I think the only way I could lose is if like I get like a judge call on myself and because I took too long or something. So, yeah, unfortunately didn't get there, but crazy moment to have a top deck Tipo get there exactly 8 inks, and it was an awesome moment. So I did next turn top deck a develop, and I saw Carl Donald. So like I still had pretty good chance to find the second out, but I didn't find it. It was one card further. I off the develop. I found a nothing, and then the next card was a sail into another answer. Another what's it called? The You're Welcome. So one card again, it could have bailed me out. It is what it is. So
I think what happened is because you got to play all those Amethyst decks in the Swiss, like some kind of karmic situation happened, and like okay, because you had to play Amber Steel, this you get a freebie here.
Right. I had way too easy of a run. Honestly, it's
No,
kind of
dude,
funny
like
that you were talking about die rolls, because like it sounds like we both were having some rough die roll luck leading into this, and like right, this is our cash in tournament for both of us. So.
Yeah. No, man, like you played super well. Like I like nothing against your run. Like obviously you 100% deserved to be there. Definitely could have taken this. Like it's super swingy in these blue green mirrors. Like it's just haymaker after haymaker, and like if you find Ben at the exact right time, it's the game is over, which is unfortunately why we have to put that card in our deck. I don't like it really in any other matchup, but in this matchup, if you have one Ben in your deck and the other person does not, at some point during the game, you will just end the game. Or
Yeah,
usually,
it was
like, something you have to play around at least.
When it was like 12% play rate going into this event, which is like still higher than it was in past, and it was still getting hyped to go up further than that. It was like 15. Okay, there's an event where there's a lot of it. I was like, all right, I finally have to put it in. I think that, like I'm always a guy that like make sure like if this is only helping me in a 10% matchup and like on the draw or on the play, like I'm not gonna do it. An uninkable clunky card that can lose you other games is usually not worth it. But this was the first event that I was like, okay, I think there's going to be close to 20% green blue. Like I have to put it in. Like there's no way I'm not.
I remember you talking about that at CCS. So I thought, like, before we actually changed deck lists, and I think I talked to you before that, and you said, "Yeah, I've got bend in my deck." But I thought there was a chance because I knew you were philosophically against bend. I was like, "Oh, well, maybe I just get it. Maybe I got a freebie." But no,
Yeah. Well,
obviously, like,
I had won games at CCS against people with bend in their deck, like going second. So I knew you could do it. Like, and if you
yeah, you
go the
can.
high roll route and you just always get their singers off the table, they can't hard cast a bounce and bend in the same turn until they have 10-8. And if they're going second, there's no way that's happening. So it's like, you can win plenty of games without it. And at that point, you can still just like, okay, I played so much the board that you don't have a turn to do this. Like I have 8 lore, I'm going to be at like 19, maybe 20, take a turn to do that. So, but it does, like, there is value in one, if you're going first, being able to absolutely just end the game and set yourself up like that. Like that's a 10-15% plus win rate in the games where you're going first. Whereas other games, even if you're going, be grind it out and then they find the bend when it finally does get to the point, you lose because of that. So
I found there was actually a fair amount of amethyst matchups too, where you could have kind of a mediocre hand and bounce bend and sometimes just wins. So it wasn't like 0% against everything else.
If they go full defense, they like Blurple and they just try to take your Clara lines off, like you can like triple ramp into just hard cast Mother Knows Best plus bend and then just keep like 3 or 4 cards left and you have the combo in hand. That's enough to get there. Like they're not, because they played so defensively, you have time to take 1 turn to bend them, take out their hand, and then just keep the combo for 2 turns later.
Yeah, that's the power of a hard board wipe. Like it doesn't matter what characters are left. At some point, everything will go away.
Yeah, even if they get to 17, 18 turns, like count it out. Okay, if I let them quest for 2 turns and can I afford a turn to bend and just remove all their draw engine? And there's a lot of games against this matchup and Blurple where you can.
Yep, agreed.
So there.
But I'm pretty confident you're going to be in Worlds, man. Like I don't think there's any way. The way you've been playing, you've been on fire. So we'll you needed to let me get one anyway. So
I wish there was a rule that if you qualified for Continentals like 3 times, you just got a world spot. Like that would be straight. Like I mean, I have confidence that I can, if I show up and I don't brick again like I did last year at Continentals, that I'll have a good shot. But like it would be sick if you could just like qualify 3 times and it's like, all right, you get to go to Worlds. Sure, like why not?
I think if you qualify for all the Continentals, you get like form the triangle, and then you get you just collect all the pieces. It's like
maybe you just win Worlds then, right? They just let you win.
They just playing for second. You get 3 buys.
Yeah, that would be sick. No, I think I'll have a good shot. I am glad that I have more fuel to like to get there than like say if I won. I think I had a lot of success early on in this game, and it kind of spoiled me for my the rest of my journey, because it was like I didn't win an event. Even if I made top, it just felt bad. I was like, man, what? Like they felt so good all day, and then it just ends like. But also there's this scene in Indiana Jones. I think at the start of the film, he's like a kid, and he's like gets like thwarted by this guy because he was trying to steal like the thing they were like trying to take away from like a mine or something. And there was a story how he gets his hat. He puts the hat on him. He says, "You lost today, kid, but you don't have to like it." And like I always love that like mental. I didn't get my outcome. I don't have to like it. All I can do is look forward and look what where I can let that drive me for the next event. I think there is a benefit to throw in right at the. Obviously, I'm gonna wake up, sweats at some point in the next month and be like, "What was I doing? Why did I just think 5 more seconds?" But no, I think I'm feeling pretty. And obviously, it's nice to have a very good mind rewarded, be the person to defeat me. So,
thanks, man. No, yeah, I'm on top of the world, but like I would have been completely fine if you had won. I would have felt, like I lost to a good player, lost a reasonable matchup. I'm obviously glad I drew the TPO and then things went down that way, but it is what it is. Was not coming in expecting to win the event. Like what I've said a lot of different places is I value consistency. I've had a lot of money finishes, had a lot of top cuts, and you just gotta like take the opportunities when they come. Like that's kind of what I just tell people is don't worry about spiking an event. Just be consistent, win as often as you can, be prepared for as room as you can. And sometimes it's gonna knock your way, roll your way, and sometimes it will. But if you can take advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves, you're in good shape. You're still, above average. You'll be fine.
I think that's a great mindset to give to all the listeners and the viewers out there. Like, you're not going to win every single event. Just, stay the course. And even for me, like, I tend to get down on myself when I do bad, but it's like, last DLC things in Milwaukee, like, things did not go Sky's way at all, right? And in this one was able to get all the way to the second place finish. But we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes. That's pretty long for a Podcana episode. They're not all going to be this long, but this was a very special episode. I want to thank Fungus for being here. We do have his Twitter handle on the screen, so you should definitely follow him. But Fungus, I will give the floor to you. What else would you like to plug? Where can the people find you? What do you have coming up that the people can get excited for, and Sky's dad can get excited for, because he is a subscriber?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a instructional designer and trainer in my day job, and I've been an educator my entire life, so I'm trying to blend those worlds a little bit. I have a YouTube channel where I do strategy advice, but I also do stuff like just very baseline TCG concepts as they apply to Lorcana. So I have a video where I explain what tempo is. If you've heard that term before and have no clue what that is, I have an entire video where I relate that to Lorcana terms, card advantage, virtual card advantage, a lot of concepts that, as a person who's been around this, been the block a few times. So, but I also have strategy advice, tournament reports, and I try to be pretty forthcoming with my logic and things like that. So there's a lot of Lorcana slop on the internet that people that are giving kind of less than 100% advice, but I do try to give put good information out there. So I'm definitely trying to put a lot of energy into my YouTube channel, especially now that I was able to take down an event. So come in, check me, throw me a subscribe. I have Fungus TCG is the name of the channel. Look me up on YouTube. Hopefully you'll like the stuff I have out there.
Awesome. Yeah, everybody definitely go check out Fungus. Thank you so much for being on this episode. We really do appreciate it, and we're going to have you back on really soon. But that's going to be it for us today. Thank you so much for watching and listening out there, everybody. We have more episodes coming, and we will see you in the next one.